Let's start with Moneyball A's and really this paradigm shift that I think was going on in baseball that you were a part of. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what your job was with the A's and sort of what was that like? What was it like during that time period?
Yeah, so the analytics department at that time was really quite small, maybe 4 or 5 of us. And it was all just very manual. And the level of sophistication back then was prehistoric compared to what they're doing today. So my job really was, we do these little like side projects and things like that. I'll tell you about one about the sacrifice bunt that I did that took me basically a whole summer. But yeah, preparing scouting reports for teams, a lot of stuff pre-draft, compiling, scouting reports, again, still largely based on some of the subjective scouting data that was really the focus of the Moneyball book. And they respected and appreciated those metrics, even though they weren't necessarily based in stats or analytics or player performance or anything like that. So there's still a lot of stock placed in that. I think the movie and the book maybe over dramatizes this divide between scouting and analytics. They were kind of working in harmony. There were still some old school baseball guys, and I'm sure the coaching staff was maybe even more so, that was hesitant to listen to what the numbers were saying. But that divide was, I think, a little bit exaggerated. Yeah, and then there was a program that they were using, and I think they still use today, though I imagine it's much more sophisticated, called the BATS program. And with this program, you could enter in every pitch, and track really as much data as you wanted to. And then, I could go in there and basically pull out notable matchups or situational statistics that were somehow meaningful moving forward. So I could track based on who the pitcher was, what their tendencies were in certain counts, certain matchups between pitcher and hitter that maybe the coaches would look to exploit. And actually, a big part of what I was doing at that time with a big provider of statistical data was MLB.com. And so I would just go into MLB.com and pull relevant stats and situational stats and things like that might be relevant and present those in a report back to the coaches. So kind of all over the place, but I would say I spent most of my time just surfing the web and futzing around on Excel, really.